Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
This thought from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Good morning. How about how horrible the uniforms were? Are they trying too hard? Yes. Can we go back to the normal uniforms where they just wear their uniform of their team? God, I hope so. And I've heard that that's going to happen next year, right?
Yeah, it sounded like after meetings yesterday, Commissioner Manfred talked to the media, and it sounded like the owners were in favor of that. So I would imagine that it'll go back to having the regular uniforms for the game, the actual game. I'm fine with them wearing the different things, whether it's has something to do with the city that they're at, or they just change things up. I think that was, I think that's fine for like the home run derby night.
Yeah.
But I think the actual game, I think they'll end up going back to the uniforms, regular uniforms.
Those things were, they were hideous. They were better.
I didn't think the American leagues were that bad. I thought the National Leagues were pretty out there.
Pretty out there,
Yeah. What did you think of all the this is old man Jamie, get off my lawn stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, I was completely annoyed when we come back from the last commercial break before first pitch, and you can see that there are reporters actually standing on the field, one of them next to the mound, okay, to interview Paul Skeens before he throws the first pitch. Okay. Or no, it was Corbin Burnson for the Orioles. It wasn't Skeens. Get off the field.
Get off the field.
And then the other yahoos over there at second base to talk to Simeon.
Yeah.
Get off the field. You could interview these guys all day long. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
And what are we getting out of that? How big is this moment for you? We're getting nothing out of that. Mm-hmm. Get off the field. I mean, you want to do in the dugout, whatever.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
Get off the field. They're walking out on the field to warm up. Let them warm up.
Right.
Okay?
I agree with you.
And I think sometimes the in-game, in-the-ear stuff is fun. But my issue is that they're doing it so much in these All-Star games now. There are guys coming to the plate who it's their first All-Star game at bat. Mm-hmm. Okay? And they deserve to be celebrated and talked about their great story and all that. Instead, we're asking Bryce Harper, hey, why have you guys been so good in the first half of the season? Okay? Well, you can ask him that anytime. Celebrate this guy who's at the plate.
Yeah.
Talk about him. We don't even mention his name.
Right.
Because we're talking to Bryce Harper about how good the Phillies have been, and certain guys you can absolutely tell. You can tell Aaron Judge, it does not want to do it. Okay, he's very quiet. He answers all the questions like he should. He says all the right things. But like, if you've got a guy who's a big personality, maybe that's one thing. Aaron Judge is not that guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, have you ever in the history of ever heard an in-game interview and be like, man, that was really good stuff? No. I mean, unless something big happens. I remember the first time they did it with it was with the Cubs in a spring training game. And it seemed like it was fun, and there was whoever it was had a big personality, and it was fun, and that was neat. But I don't know.
They're forcing it.
They're doing it too much.
Yeah.
They're doing it too much. Mm-hmm. If you did it once every 3 or 4 innings with a guy in the All-Star game, I think that would be fine. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you're ignoring guys you're talking to guys out in the field, and you're not even talking about these guys who are coming to the plate.
Who have a story. They all have
and then they deserve their time.
Yeah.
Instead, we're, to ask, Trey Turner, how much fun is it to play with 3 guys in the same infield? Okay, you could have asked him that for...
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Everybody knows the answer.
Yes.
It's just like, everybody deserves their time. Mm-hmm. Give them their time. I just, that to me, they're pushing that too much. And it's like, hey, we have this technology, we have to use it. But I was seriously annoyed with, the reporters being on the field. When they walk out there to warm up, let them play the game.
Let them have their
interview them
moment,
before they cross the white lines. That's fine. Yeah.
There, to your point, there were 37 guys playing in their first All Star game. 37 out of 64. So, I mean, a lot of guys that, you frankly would have to be you'd have to watch a lot of baseball to know who these guys were, frankly, because, I mean, there are a lot of names that you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that guy. I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy.
Can you just imagine if Josh Young had his moment last year in his first at-bat and he came to the plate and they didn't say his name or didn't talk about him at all because they were talking to some guys.
Because that happened last night.
And because they were talking to guys out in the field. Yeah. Can you imagine as a Texas Tech fan base and Rangers fan base how annoyed we would be by that?
Sure.
And so I just don't think we can be hypocritical and say, I don't care if they didn't mention William Contreras or whoever else it was. We don't care. They deserve their moment too. They just I think there's good in that and there's fun in the in-game interviews and all that. I just think they're doing it too much now.
Speaking of Mason Miller, whom you spoke of just a few moments ago, his pitch last night of 103.6 miles per hour was the fastest in All-Star Game history since they started using the fast pitch tracker in 2008. So if you thought that was fast, then yeah, you were right. Now, I'm sure that there's, Bob Gibson's probably going, I threw 105. Well, okay, Bob, we don't know if that was really accurate or not. Because that's probably what he would say.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know that I'd argue with Bob Gibson if he was saying he threw 105.
Yeah, or
he might throw
Nolan.
it at me then.
Yes, Mr. Gibson.
Yes, Mr. Gibson. Yes. 6:38 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. The national anthem was better last night.
It was solid. It was probably the most watched one in the history of sports.
Yes.
People were like, okay, we have to see what happens tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody around that guy and Major League Baseball told that guy, just make it normal.
Yeah.
Just make it normal.
Yeah, just right down the middle, big boy. Here's a glass of water.
So how much of the story are you believing everything we're hearing right now?
That she was drunk and that she's going to go to rehab, and then she says super fun. I thought she's just bad. Her voice was just bad. If she says she was, I don't think you would come out and say that you were drunk as trying to use that as an excuse as to why you were so bad. I feel bad for her. I feel sorry for her. At least she owned it. If that's the case, are you buying or not?
Think I'm in the camp of thinking the whole thing's a big promotion for herself. Yeah.
Okay.
Big. Yep, big to do about her trying to become famous.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
History. Today is Wednesday, July the 17th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire.
We get to use the Wayback Machine at a little bit later today.
Okay.
Those are fun.
It is, because it's one of my favorite things to do every year. 1922, Ty Cobb gets 5 hits in a game for a record 4th time in a year. There are guys that don't have 5 hits in a game 4 times in a career.
Yeah.
Nuts. I don't know what happened to our guy, Pavo Nurmi, today.
I was going to ask you about him.
I don't know what happened to him today, but in 1926 today, he walks a world record 4x1500 meter. I don't know why he didn't run. That seems a little weird.
Seems like he was protesting something.
But he walked. See, and it's a world record, 16:11:04. So I don't know why he didn't run.
But he
walked.
I literally was going to ask you about Pavo Nurmi, but I didn't get the opportunity.
Well, Chuck and I were just talking about in the break, and Jeff, we're talking about sometimes 11-year-olds are, a bit of head cases. Maybe Pavo Nurmi was a head case today. He just refused. He didn't want to run.
Maybe there wasn't a run offered. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but he walked today. 1941, as Chuck alluded to yesterday, New York Yankee Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak comes to an end in Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Now, I do this every year on this day because I'm just amazed by it. Do you remember Tech baseball getting ready to play Arizona State this year?
Okay, yeah.
Texas Tech track and field, we came in that Monday talking about the Big 12 championships and how they performed. Mm-hmm. What about the Houston Astros being 17-25?
Yeah.
That was all May 15th, or right around that time frame. Mm-hmm. That was when Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak started.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it went for quite a while.
Like, it went over 2 months.
Yeah.
And that's a hit in every game in every one of those days. That is insane to me thinking about that. I can't even... Like, I can wrap my head around the 56 games and that it is the record, and it will probably be the record that is never broken in baseball. But to get a hit every day since Tech was getting ready to play Arizona State is nuts to me. 1974, speaking of Bob Gibson, he becomes the second pitcher to strike out 3,000 batters.
He could do that.
Yes, Mr. Gibson. 1978, New York Yankee manager Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson fight in the dugout after Jackson refused to bunt, causing Martin to suspend him.
I was watching that game. That was just watching that unfold just in front of you was just absolutely crazy. And just Elston Howard holding back Billy Martin. I mean, they were gonna go at it.
Crazy.
It was crazy. That was in Boston.
1988, Florence Griffin Joyner, also known as FloJo, of the USA Track and Field, sets the 100-meter women's world record at 10.49. 1990, Minnesota Twins become the first team to turn 2 triple plays in a game, but they lose to the Boston Red Sox 1-0.
That'd be pretty disappointing.
I mean, if you were watching that game, you got to see 2 triple plays happen.
Sure.
That would be awesome.
Crazy.
And then you watched a 1-0 game, which probably kept you on the edge of your seat the whole game.
No doubt.
And in 2016, former Red Raider Josh Tomlin gives up 1 run on 6 hits in 7 2/3 innings of work as the Cleveland Indians top the Mariners 6-1. It's National Hot Dog Day.
Nice.
And National Peach Ice Cream Day.
You know, it's the peach ice cream is. I wouldn't want it like every week, but just occasionally. You know, it's a treat. You know.
I've never had peach ice cream.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday, Luke Bryan, who's 48. Eric Winter from the Rookie is 48, and David Hasselhoff from Knight Rider and Baywatch is 72. Mm-hmm. Or do you know him better from his drunk video when he was eating the hamburger on the floor?
What about the car guy when he was the
Knight Rider?
Knight Rider, yeah.
He said that.
Oh, he did. Okay,
He said that first.
I said that first. I'm sorry.
Like that's
I just heard the David Hasselhoff and the Baywatch, and I was like thinking about the.
Well, in fairness, when you hear Baywatch, you think about other things and start to lose and
you
not pay attention. Right. I completely understand.
Yeah, get distracted.
And on this day, an ammunition ship explodes while being loaded in Port Chicago in California, killing 320 people in 1944. United States World War II military campaign in the Pacific was in full swing at the time. Poor procedures and lack of training led to the disaster. The USS Quausant Victory and the SSEA Bryant, 2 merchant ships, were being loaded. The holds were being packed with 4,600 tons of explosives, bombs, depth charges, and ammunition. Another 400 tons of explosives were nearby on rail cars. Approximately 320 workers were on or near the pier at 10:18. A series of massive explosions over several seconds destroyed everything and everyone in the vicinity. The blasts were felt as far away as Nevada, and resulting damage extended as far as San Francisco.
Goodness.
Every building in Port Chicago was damaged, and people were literally knocked off their feet. Smoke and fire extended nearly 2 miles into the air. A pilot of a plane flying at 9,000 feet in the area claimed that metal chunks from the explosion flew past his cockpit. This led to massive safety overhaul in the U.S. military during World War II.
Right?
And that is this Dan Sports History.
All right, 6:52 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts and comments this morning on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Somebody asked this question, Jamie. Is the reason Gavin Cash didn't get drafted because no one wanted to match his NIL from Texas A&M?
I'm not really sure on that. I don't know what the NIL number was. I bet it was a big one, but I'm sure that it gave him an opportunity to say to teams, "Hey, you're going to have to match that, or I'm staying in college." So gave him that leverage. But it might be part of it, or it might be that scouts didn't love his game.
There's always that. And
I mean, if let's just say that, let's just throw a number out there that I think. Let's say it was $200,000.
Okay.
That the Aggies are giving him. Let's say they're giving him $200,000. If he was going to be a guy that was going to be drafted in the, 14th, 15th, 16th round, he wasn't going to get anywhere close to that. So major league teams may say, no, it's not worth it for us.
And is that kind of where you would have had him projected?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
So it became a simple business decision for him then.
Or for teams.
Or for teams, They say, okay, this guy's kind of priced himself out of the market for now.
It just became sad as the day went along that it was obvious that he was going to end up playing for the Aggies.
Yeah, right. Because there wasn't really a whole lot that you could do about that at the end of the day.
Rob asked a really interesting question yesterday. So let's say he did get drafted yesterday in the 17th round. Who writes the press release? Texas Tech or Texas A&M? I don't think it's Texas Tech.
Yeah, he's already moved on from here.
So Texas A&M claims him and says, all right, congratulations, Aggie. And he's never played for them.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of National Hot Dog Day, Rob was in for you a couple days last week, and he had announced on Friday that he was going to do the 999 challenge, 9 beers, 9 hot dogs in 9 innings. I asked him yesterday in the parking lot. I go, "Hey, did you do the 999 thing?" He goes, "Oh yeah, we got that done."
He did it.
He did it.
It's crazy.
6:55 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Jamie will have a question for us at 7:30. So here's a question for you, or just a thought that I have kind of rolling through my brain. What do you think as they get ready for camp here in the next couple of weeks, as Joey McGuire and his assistants are huddling up and talking and planning things out, and maybe in just the quietest of moments that he might have at some point in time, which may be right before he goes to sleep. What do you think? What do you think he's looking forward to the most, or is concerned the most about, or just as he kind of just looks at his football team from a 30,000-foot view? Does he have the same thoughts that all of us do about quarterback and defensive line, and how much are we going to run the ball, and are the receivers going to be really that good, or is there something else, do you think?
Something different than all of that?
Yeah, I mean, because he obviously knows more than, I mean, he's the head of the snake, right? He's right there. I mean, he's intricately, he may have a confidence about something that we are like, well, we are really concerned about that. And you're like, oh, no, that's not the problem. The problem is over here.
I guess my guess is that because I think that every coach thinks about the trenches. Mm-hmm. I would think he would say offensive line meshing together. I mean, you got a lot of new guys there. And being able to stop the run after losing 2 great run stoppers from a season ago. That would be my guess. Just because I think college football or football coaches always think about just we got to win up front. We got to be the most physical. Mm-hmm. And on both sides of the ball, they talk about that. So since he's a football coach, I would guess, and you're talking about replacing a bunch of guys in those areas, I would imagine that's where he would, if he was being honest, that's what he would say.
Yeah. Jeff, do you agree with that, or is there something else that you think he might look at and go, the problem's not this door that doesn't swing quite right, it's the roof that leaks all the time, or whatever?
I mean, I'm not going to say that wouldn't be a possibility, that a leaking roof would be causing all of the problems in the world, because that's just annoying. But, I mean, I'm going to give us just a little bit of credit that we see what's going on.
Okay.
There might be something that's brought up that might be a little deeper of a cut, but our eyes work. We're not. I mean, we're dumb, but we're not that dumb.
Okay. Our eyes work. I mean, we have a sense of what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there might be reasons for what we're seeing isn't what's actually going on, but I'm going to give us a little bit of credit. I mean, a little.
Do you think that he looks at his quarterback room and is as confident this year as he was a year ago, or is there some nervousness there that maybe wasn't there a year ago because he could say, well, if Shuck goes down, I've got Baron Morton. And this year he looks at this room and goes, if Baron Morton goes down, I've got unknowns really behind him.
Sure. I'm sure there's some of that. I mean, as much as he thinks Will Hammond is really, really talented, and as much as the
Cameron
Brown is a guy that they think can do a bunch of different things to help the team, I think that their eggs are squarely in the basket of Baron Morton, so they would probably be nervous about that.
Yeah, I mean, that would kind of go without saying, and I'm sure that they're going to say, well, we're confident that we can keep Baron Morton upright, and then they've got some thoughts on how they're going to use the backup, Cameron Brown, and I think they're going to play some Will Hammonds, but I think they want to desperately keep that red shirt on that young man.
I would guess so.
Although you kind of look at this and go, in today's transfer-free world that we live in, if you're the head coach and you're like, hey, trying to win, their goal is to win games, right? And
I think that if at any point they feel like Will Hammond gives them a better chance to win than Baron Morton or somebody else, they'll be playing him. I don't think they'll be worried about the red shirt.
Right, because you at some point in time you have to be selfish for the team, so to speak, right? And you can't.
Yeah, and I'm sure the kid would be all in on that.
You would think, because I mean, starting here versus. Well, if I transfer XYZ, I'm going to be behind somebody over there, too.
If he's anywhere close to as good as we think he is, and he probably thinks he is, then he's not going to be here for 4 years anyways.
Because he'll be in the NFL after 3?
He'll get drafted after 3, right.
Okay.
So surely he wouldn't be worried about, I don't want to play these 2 extra games because, I really want to keep that 4th year of eligibility. No.
I want to be playing for somebody in the 3-letter league as opposed to this all-state Big 12, Poulon Weed Eater Bowl that, or Poulon Weed Eaters Conference that we're going to be playing in. That would be irritating if it was the Poulon Weed Eater 12.
It wouldn't irritate me.
It wouldn't. Okay. As long as the money's there.
I don't care, and I probably wouldn't call it Poulon Weed Eater either.
Just kind of
I just keep calling it the Big 12.
Yeah.
They can't make you do it, Chuck.
I know.
Unless Poulon Weed Eater is paying us.
Yeah.
They can't make us.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean,
they can pay the Big 12 all they want.
It's still the Big 12. Yeah, you're the Big 12.
I'm not the Big 12.
Yeah, the Horned Frogs can ask all they want, but they're still Texas Christian University to us.
Yeah,
sorry.
Right. I don't think it's, quote, desperate to keep Hammond's red shirt. They won't play him over 4 games for the hell of it, but not forcing the issue if he's needed. He is needed.
Yeah, no, I think if they're at any point, whether it's because Barron's not performing or Cam Brown's not performing or they're hurt or whatever, if they feel like Will Hammond starting the rest of the season and going past 4 games is best for the team, I think they'll play Will Hammond.
Yeah, and then the other guy, the odd man out here, is Jake Strong. It kind of seems like, right?
Well, I mean, he's fourth on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Fourth would make him the even man out.
Sure. Sure. It makes him the even man out. But I mean,
yeah, and
Cooper
you know
LeFabre would be the fifth man, so he'd be the odd man out.
And you know what? Jake is allowed to improve, and I'm sure he learned a lot from last year, and so I don't think that anybody should be giving up on him.
No.
I mean, he was okay last year. I mean, he played like a guy who, wasn't ready.
Yeah.
As most true freshmen are.
We've seen that before with a guy
and also hadn't had a ton of first team reps or anything like that. So I mean, I think he was exactly what we had expected he would be. I mean, he didn't look void of talent to me. Mm-hmm. It's more about understanding, reading Division I college defenses and all that good stuff.
Yeah, the reps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I didn't always feel like, especially in the first game that he played, that the play calling did him a lot of favors either.
Yeah, just didn't kind of maybe play to his strength or didn't help him out.
Well, I mean, we had a guy taking his first action, throwing the ball down the field over the middle a bunch. And let's
hand the ball off there.
Let's sand it off, or let's look for underneath stuff.
Got a guy that's got some legs underneath him that can kind of move the ball down the field a little bit.
But I'm sure part of that was his decision making, not just the play calling.
Yeah, and again, kind of wonder too of how many times they check things off too. Because I think the one thing that this coaching staff did, this is just a thought here. So I think sometimes they've taken the brunt for the player and not thrown the player under the bus, which I appreciate, because I think that there's probably sometimes we're like, that's not the play we call, but not everybody needs to know that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that there was times where you're like, we wish we would have called a different play there. 7:25. Jamie's question of the day is next.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
That little correct sound was for everybody who is watching on Fox 34 News now on you saw what Jamie did. Yeah. And you should be watching sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever done that.
And you had a big old smile on your face. Like, I almost want to go get a screen grab of that. That was awesome.
First time ever. Probably be the last. Okay, so my question for you today. First, I have to put this in play. Jeff and I cannot answer Red Raiders. Mm-hmm. Chuck cannot answer Red Raiders, Jayhawks, or Wildcats.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
In our new Big 12 upcoming season for football, which team are you really hoping does well?
Hoping does well.
And which team are you really hoping does terrible?
That's terrible. Okay. The team that I hope that does well, that I wouldn't mind seeing do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah. I don't think I would. I think everybody's going to say Colorado. Okay.
Which one? To do well or not do well?
Not do well.
Okay.
I'll say this for whatever reason, over just the test of time, I've just always liked the Arizona State Sun Devil logo. Okay. So. And they're a team that is at I guess many would say would be close to the bottom of the barrel, if not the bottom of the barrel, for this coming football season. I mean, it would probably shock the projectors out there if they won 6 games and became bowl eligible.
I think that would be a huge surprise.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'd say Arizona State on one end. I think the other low hanging fruit is TCU and Utah. I don't really.
That's the thing. You have to just pick one.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking. I'm thinking through this. Utah really doesn't bother me that much. TCU, it's like, whatever. I'll say Colorado because I think I think at some point in time, the hype train and the real train are going to meet head on, and it's not going to be. They're going to collide, okay? And nobody's going to stop the break. Jeff?
All right, so let's go through some things here that eliminate teams. State of Texas, out. State of Oklahoma, out. Arizona State's on your schedule, so is Arizona, out. I'm going to start running out of teams here. Colorado, out. Utah, the University of, out. BYU still a possibility. I don't want West Virginia to do well. I'm kind of tired of their crud, so they're out. So I'm down to UCF, Cincinnati, and BYU.
And the 2 Kansas schools, are throwing them out too?
Goodness. Punt.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to either expand or pick a team.
UCF. If I need somebody off of this list to do well this year, by process of elimination, we're going UCF.
Okay.
BYU is a close second, only because they offer ice cream. Number 1 on the list of someone who I want to never win another football game again. Mm-hmm. Already, I think that might be Utah. I think I would very much love to see them put in a place a little bit, and the snobbery that they kind of looked down on the Big 12 with before they were going to become members. I would like them to eat those words a little bit. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I would like to see that.
Okay, the team for me that I would love to see do well this year, it's because the quarterback position is so important. Like, quarterbacks are judged on wins and losses. I think Donovan Smith's a great kid, great young man, and I'm a big fan of his. So I hope Houston has a good year. I hope after this year they're terrible again. But I want Donovan Smith to have a good year.
I do too. I agree with you on that.
And so if Donovan Smith's having a good year, they'll hopefully... I mean, for Houston, them having a really good year this year where they're picked and where they're expected, it might just mean like 7 wins. Mm-hmm. You know? And that means Donovan probably played pretty well. Okay? So I would like to see Houston do well this year. BYU would have been second on my list just because I feel like every BYU fan I meet, they're good people. They're nice people. So I can't say that about most of the fan bases on the list. The second part is hard for me. TCU and Oklahoma State I root against with all of my being. But just seeing the charade that is the fraudulent Deion Sanders and just the joke that he and his crew put on last week, I just, I'm as out on that team as I could ever be. I don't think Deion's going to be there very long. I don't know about hype train, meeting real trains and all that good stuff. I thought it was a great line. I just think Deion's going to get done coaching his kids, and he's just going to quit.
Oh, okay.
And leave that program in shambles. They're not going to take a step forward because Deion left it in a better place. That's not going to happen. It's obvious that whatever Colorado's got going is about Deion. And the program's not going to be elevated when he left. I
was going to say, you don't think it would leave it in a better spot for an elevated coach?
Nope, I sure don't. Any momentum they have is all about Deion. Because right now, any momentum they have is not about winning.
Mm-hmm. It's about getting his kids drafted.
Yeah, I cannot stand that group. So I hope it goes really bad for them.
Well, if you have an opinion on that, hit us up on who was second in line for you. Would that have been a tie between TCU and Oklahoma State in terms of?
Probably would have been Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could kind of get behind the UCF doing well. I mean, I think the problem is I think they have the ability to the potential to do really, really well if Gus Malzahn gets it going and they start winning some big games. They could be really, really big.
Yeah, I don't have any real football dislike for UCF.
Yeah.
You know? Got issues with their baseball press box, but a weekend of staring at a wall.
You don't have to worry about that this year. They'll be coming here.
Thankfully.
7:40
I
this morning.
assume the schedule is going to change a bunch.
Right. 7.
I mean, we're going right back to Arizona State this year, so we might have to go back to Orlando too.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
The Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It's great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. I guess I missed this yesterday. I don't know what we had going on at 8:15. I think
you were doing busy impersonations of all-star fans catching balls and describing it to their friends.
Yeah.
And then we discussed who was going to win the AL West.
Yeah.
We got busy.
I was going to say,
wow.
I was distracted.
Sounds like that was kind of stuck in Jeff's craw a little bit there. Like he remembers exactly what was discussed instead of it.
Right.
Somebody may or may not have had to write that in a report for what we discussed yesterday. So
struggle. It was yesterday seemed like I asked Jamie at the end if he was exhausted because it seemed it was a churn yesterday, a little bit of a churn, kind of. When going through the wagon wheels were going through the mud yesterday. Okay, so who wore it best? We're down to number 2, and here's your number 2s: B.J. Simmons, Jace Young, Zaire Smith, and Kiki Kuti. Those are the 4 that Jeff selected for this, and these are your names.
They are. There's a very obvious miss that I'm apologizing for up front, ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Ricky Williams should have been on there.
Instead of Kiki Kuti?
Probably instead of Kiki. I probably would have made that switch out. Mm-hmm. But, giant miss on my part. Ricky's one of my favorites.
Did Ricky always wear 2 for us?
I think he changed.
I thought he did, too. Like, that was at the end. He was 2.
Yeah. That's a miss. I should have gotten Ricky on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have finished first anyway.
I don't know that he would have, but I should have gotten Ricky on there.
Who's first in your mind?
Well, it's interesting because I think Jace Young is first. Okay, first round draft pick and all the above, but so was Zaire Smith.
But he only played 1 year.
But he just really didn't turn out to anything. In the NBA, mm-hmm. And he only played 1 year for the Red Raiders compared to Jace. Kiki Kuti was great. I mean, really good. Yep, he might win the category if he was wearing a different number. And who was the 4th one?
BJ.
And BJ was awesome too. But yeah, no, it's Jace Young.
Jeff, who's your number 2?
I would probably go Jace as well. I think I said BJ yesterday. I go back and forth between those 2 as my 1 and 1A. And to be probably fair, it's more like 1A, 1B for as close as those 2 are. Because Jace, first round draft pick, as Jamie already talked about, multiple years in the program. But BJ was the single season Big 12 passing leader for forever after he left. And, he was part of that string of great quarterback play that you had that was phenomenal. And, the injury that he played through at the end of the year just adds to that lore. Mm-hmm. I think it's those 2 and then Zaire and Kiki close behind. I feel like this is the most balanced of the 4 that we've had for there not being one just walk-away answer. So today I'm going to go with Jace, but ask me tomorrow, I might say BJ again. Like it's that close between those 2.
Okay, so I'm just. For me, it's BJ. But really, it was just. For BJ, wasn't it? He played a couple. He was here for 4 years, but it was really just a couple of years that he really contributed, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
I would say just 1.
Yeah. Well, I had 1 year. Yeah, probably just the 1. Yeah, just because that was that time period where you had to sit 3 years to play 1. Basically, is what it was. My question for you, Jamie, was going to be with regard to Jace. If Josh didn't play here or hadn't played here, do you think Do you think Jace would have a bigger presence or feel, or is there no shadow over him because of Josh?
I think he came out of his shadow. They were two different players, completely different players, and played different positions. Jace was about the home run. Josh was about the glove and the clutch hitting and hitting for average and basically being an all-around player, all that good stuff. A great leader. Jace was about driving in runs and hitting the ball at the ballpark. So I don't think there was a shadow over Jason. I really don't.
One was very cool and calm at all times, and one of them was the wild card.
Super emotional, and yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think I've asked you this before, and that's been
I think Red Raider fans appreciate Jace for what he was. I don't think that anybody looks at him and feels like, well, but he wasn't Josh. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of people believe that he has the potential to be a bigger star because Major League Baseball is all about hitting home runs. And so maybe he has the potential to be the bigger star. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, and he's got to get up there first, and maybe that'll happen, in September, and then maybe he'll be able to stick next year. And then, the unfortunate thing for Josh right now is, man, can he stay healthy? And some of that, well, it sounds like some of this is just dumb luck or dumb bad luck. Getting hit on the hand and the thumb, and the strained calf and the weightlifting accident, all that stuff is just bad luck. Bad, dumb luck.
Yes.
Can't be good luck because it was a bad thing.
Same conversation we had yesterday.
Right, yeah. Sometimes...
We're not breaking any news.
Yeah, sometimes my memory bank is, empty. Or gets emptied. Or gets forgetful, all those things. I have this, I don't know that I'm going to go through this, but I have this list because I was going to... What I need to do is I need to go through this list, and here, I'll tell you what the topic is, and then you guys can guess a number as to how many for me, okay? And then we'll go through the list maybe at some point in time. The list is this: 26 sayings that make you sound old and out of touch. Okay?
Okay.
26 sayings.
I'm going to guess that we're pretty close to the same number, and I'm going to say the number's pretty low. Like 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For
both of us. We're both somewhere around there.
Okay. Well, I'll go through the list, and then I'll report back. I'll report back to you.
Well, that doesn't seem like any fun.
Well, here. Okay. Well, let me get to it. I got it.
That's what I thought we were about to do.
Okay. I got it right here. Okay.
Okay.
I got it right here. Here's something that people that are old say, but you're not supposed to say it anymore. Busy as a bee. I don't think we say that.
Yeah. Neither one. Both 0.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I've said that before.
I have too.
All right. So 1 each.
Okay. I've said this pretty recently. More than one way to skin a cat, or can't skin a dead cat without I've referred to the cat here lately.
Those are two
completely different sentiments. What's the one on the list?
More than one way to skin a cat.
That's one.
Okay.
Then you can't swing a dead cat without hitting something.
Yeah.
Right. Those are two completely
different situations.
Okay, that's 2 for you, 1 for me. I don't usually say the skin a cat.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I don't say that.
I don't either. Now, here's a cake reference. That takes the cake.
No.
I've said, let the cake bake, but not any
different saying.
Straight from the horse's mouth. No.
I know what it means, but I don't say it.
Yeah. Hold your horses.
No.
Good things come to those who wait. We're in an instant gratification word. Burning the midnight oil.
No.
Throw caution to the wind. I think I've said that before.
No, you're up to 3 then. I'm still at 1.
Make hay while the sun shines.
No.
No?
Not for me.
Don't cry over spilled milk.
No.
Okay. We're halfway through the list. Money doesn't grow on trees. I've probably said that before.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.